I grew up in a rural area where silence wasn't something you noticed, it was something you lived inside of. You could ride your bike for miles without passing another person, another house, or even a moving car. Just long stretches of cracked pavement, tall grass bending in the breeze, and the distant sound of insects buzzing like static in the background of everything. Summer was always my favorite season. Even now, living in a city, I still feel that pull when the air gets warm at night. But back then, summer felt different. Bigger. Slower. Like time itself stretched out and thinned until it barely existed. The days were long and lazy, and the nights felt endless. Out there, in the middle of nowhere, darkness didn't feel dangerous. It felt private. Like the world stopped watching once the sun went down. I was 16 that summer. I had one close friend, her name was Taylor. She was everything I wasn't. Where I was cautious, she was impulsive. Where I hesitated, she pushed forward without thinking. She loved the thrill of doing things we weren't supposed to do, not because they were bad, but because they made her feel alive. One of our favorite things to do was stargazing. We'd wait until late at night, grab our bikes, and ride out past town to some empty field or forgotten stretch of land. No parents. No rules. Just us, the stars, and the quiet. Sometimes we'd bring snacks. Sometimes music. That night, we brought a bottle of cheap red wine we'd stolen from her parents' cabinet. It wasn't the first time we'd done something like that. And I wish I could say it was the last. It was a warm night in July when we decided to go out. Around 10 o'clock, maybe a little later. The kind of night where the heat clung to your skin even after the sun had been gone for hours. We didn't tell anyone where we were going. We never did. That was part of the appeal. We rode our bikes out of town, past the last streetlight, past the final mailbox, and into the darkness where the road narrowed and the trees grew closer together. The sound of our tires crunching against gravel was loud in the stillness. Every so often, one of us would laugh or say something pointless, just to break the silence. After maybe 20 or 30 minutes, Taylor stopped suddenly. "This is it," she said. I looked around, confused. There were no buildings. No fences. No signs. Just an open field stretching out in every direction, the tall grass moving slightly as if breathing. Above us, the sky was packed with stars, more than I'd ever seen anywhere else. It felt exposed. But also beautiful. We laid out a blanket in the grass and opened the wine. It tasted awful, bitter and sharp, but neither of us cared. We passed the bottle back and forth, lying on our backs, pointing out constellations we barely remembered from school. The night felt timeless. At one point, Taylor asked if I thought we'd see a shooting star. "Probably not," I said. "But keep looking anyway. That's the thing about shooting stars. You don't find them when you're searching. They just happen." The wine made everything softer. The stars brighter. My thoughts slower. There was a moment, brief, strange, when Taylor looked at me in a way that made my stomach tighten. Like she wanted to say something but didn't know how. Or maybe I was imagining it. Maybe it was just the alcohol. Then it happened. A thin streak of light cut across the sky. A shooting star. We both gasped and laughed at the same time, shouting something dumb into the darkness. It felt magical. Perfect. And then, the night changed. It wasn't sudden. Not dramatic. Just a subtle shift. The kind you don't notice right away. I became aware of how quiet everything was. The insects had stopped. No crickets. No cicadas. No rustling in the grass. Just silence. I remember sitting up slightly, the feeling crawling up my spine before my brain could explain it. "Do you hear that?" I asked. Taylor frowned. "Hear what?" I opened my mouth to answer and froze. Because that's when I heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Careful. Somewhere behind us. I sat up fully now, heart pounding, scanning the darkness beyond the edge of the field. I couldn't see anything. Just shadows layered over more shadows. "Taylor," I whispered. "Someone's out there." She laughed at first. "Relax. It's probably a deer." But even as she said it, I could tell she didn't believe it. The footsteps stopped. We waited. Seconds passed. Maybe longer. Then the grass moved. Not from the wind. From weight. Something or someone was circling us. I stood up, my legs trembling, gripping my bike like it could protect me. Taylor did the same, her face pale now. "Hey," she called out, trying to sound confident. "We know you're there." No response. Instead, we heard breathing. Low. Slow. Deliberate. Too controlled to be an animal. I grabbed Taylor's arm. "We need to leave. Now." That's when the figure stepped into the starlight. A man. Tall. Thin. Standing just at the edge of the field, far enough away that his face stayed hidden in shadow. He didn't move toward us. He didn't speak. He just watched. The silence felt heavy, pressing in on us from all sides. Taylor whispered, "Do you know him?" I shook my head. The man tilted his head slightly, as if curious. As if studying us. And then he smiled. I couldn't see his teeth clearly, but I could see the shape of it. Wide. Wrong. "Run," I said. We didn't wait. We grabbed our bikes and pedaled as hard as we could back toward town. I didn't look behind me. I didn't need to. I could hear him. Running. His footsteps were fast. Too fast. I could hear his breathing now, loud and ragged, mixed with something that sounded like laughter. Taylor screamed. Her bike wobbled, hit a rock, and she went down hard. I skidded to a stop and turned back, panic flooding my chest. She was scrambling to her feet, blood on her knee, crying. "He's coming," she sobbed. I grabbed her bike, threw it aside, and pulled her up. We ran. I don't know how long we ran. My lungs burned. My legs felt like they were tearing apart. But eventually, the sounds behind us stopped. We didn't stop running until we reached the first streetlight on the edge of town. We stood there, gasping for air, shaking, staring back into the darkness. There was nothing there. No movement. No sound. Just the road stretching back into the black. We never talked about it again. Not really. Taylor moved away the next year. We drifted apart like people do. But sometimes, late at night, when summer air hangs heavy and still, I think about that field. And I wonder how long he'd been watching us before we noticed. And how many times someone else never did.